Pyramids at Giza. What purpose do they serve?
The pyramids especially are simply surrounded in mystery because at the end of the day, there's really no consensus on many basic questions we have about the pyramids.
Why are they there?
I mean, you look at the pyramids and the first thing you notice is that they're really big. And, you know, you're thinking about the people who built them and they only had stone tools and hammers and maybe copper. And in the modern day, we couldn't even build it. And so you try to think, how could they have done it?
How on earth did they get there?
People are now arguing that the pyramids could possibly be even much older or younger than the mainstream assumptions. So if we don't even know exactly when they were built, who's to say we really know anything about them at all?
So many questions, basically no answers. That means we have to start opening up the possibility of antique ETs.
Giza Plateau, Egypt. Here we find one of mankind's most impressive, and yet most mysterious, monuments. The only remaining wonder of the ancient world, many have marveled at the pyramid's unwavering presence, and many more have started wondering if humans really could have built such magnificent structures, at least without some help.
Well, when we talk about the Pyramids of Giza, we're referring to the Pyramid of Khufu, the Pyramid of Khafra, and the Pyramid of Menkaure. But it's worth noting that the site also has many smaller pyramids, multiple other rectangular tombs called mastabas, 2 large cemeteries, and the remains of living and working quarters, not to mention the Great Sphinx.
The mainstream archaeological interpretation surrounding the pyramids is that they were built in the 2500s BCE and served as the royal tombs for a succession of 3 pharaohs: Khufu, his son Khafra, and his son Menkaure. But many questions and mysteries surrounding the pyramids have led some to speculate that these pyramids may have had a more extraterrestrial motive.
So when you look at the site at Giza, one thing kind of sticks out, and that's that if you remove the modern expansion of the city of Cairo, you get a very remote spot to build such a complicated monument.
The first thing you notice when you see the pyramids is that they're in the middle of nowhere. I mean, why would people build these huge structures out in the middle of nowhere? It doesn't make any sense. We can't figure it out. The experts can't figure it out. Nobody knows.
Located 9 kilometers from the precious Nile River and 25 kilometers from the city of Cairo, it does seem a strange and arbitrary place to build such massive structures. And this isolation has led many to speculate that the site was chosen by extraterrestrial beings.
Many have theorized that this very spot was chosen by antique ETs for some purpose we have yet to discover, perhaps on top of a geothermal energy line or an alien relic of some sort. We simply don't know.
Wait, what? No. The spot at Giza had been a cemetery for Egyptian royalty for hundreds of years before.
The real question, though, is exactly how the Egyptians got materials to such an isolated and deserted spot. I mean, lugging thousands of massive stone bricks by hand across the desert would require remarkably complex technology and arguably the help of a technologically advanced civilization. Perhaps levitation, spaceship cranes, sound waves, something or other, or, as I've theorized, an army of Bigfoots. We really just don't know.
Actually, we do know exactly how the Egyptians got the stone for the pyramids, using sleds and boats. You see, teams of workers or even oxen would drag the sleds across the sand, which would be lubricated with water or oil to reduce the friction. And for long distance travel, they would simply ferry the stones down the Nile River. This is all pretty well documented, both archaeological and written record. That's not even to mention the Great Pyramids themselves were built practically on top of a quarry. So a majority of the blocks in the Great Pyramids themselves didn't need much transportation at all.
Mainstream archaeologists and Egyptologists claim that moving such large quantities of materials was well within the capabilities of the ancient Egyptians, but antique ET believers find issues with the numbers.
We're talking about granite and stone that comes from over 900 kilometers away in Egypt going to the Great Pyramids. And some of these stones weigh upwards of 30, 40, 50 tons. You're going to tell me that people with papyrus ropes just dragged these huge slabs of rock across hundreds of miles of desert? Of course not.
So we know that the ancient Egyptians couldn't have built the pyramids on their own. And you have to start asking yourself, well, then who could? The answer is no one on Earth. Ooh.
No, really. This isn't even an issue. We've discovered quite a few well-preserved sleds and we've done recreations. It's entirely possible. There's even evidence that a causeway was built from the Nile River to the pyramid site, so the boats with heavy stones could be unloaded right there where they were needed.
So while mainstream archaeologists argue that the Egyptians could have and really did build the pyramids, there is still a lot of questions that led some to suggest a more out-of-this-world purpose behind the imposing structures.
So let's throw out some hypotheticals. Let's say that the Egyptians did actually build the pyramids with or without alien help or technology. You still have to ask yourself the question, why? We don't have that answer.
So you've got this massive project that's going to take years and years and thousands of laborers, stone blocks, army of Bigfoots. What's the logical purpose here? Simple. The Egyptians knew something we don't, and they knew it because extraterrestrials told them.
People, tons of credible, intelligent, academic people have argued that the pyramids are some kind of beacon into outer space, that they hide some kind of alien technology, or that they are perfectly aligned in ways that the ancient Egyptians never could have known for themselves. At the end of the day, until we know exactly why they were built, we simply can't say for sure.
The pyramids are tombs. I mean, there's sarcophagi in them. And we even found the coffin of Menkaure. It's sitting in the British Museum. Egypt is full of tombs of all shapes and sizes, many of them pyramids. And if you look at the general archaeological record, you can clearly see the evolution of Egyptian burials from underground pits to mastabas to pyramids. I mean, 3 minutes ago, I said that the Great Pyramids were basically additions to a long-time Egyptian cemetery. There are the pyramids for the pharaoh's wives, there are tombs from other pharaohs that predate the Great Pyramids, and we have records from the workers' quarters that reference tombs. Building ornate and grandiose tombs for royalty was extremely commonplace, and Egyptians put a lot of emphasis on the afterlife. Kings expected to live like kings in both this life and the next. I mean, this isn't even conjecture. We have it in writing, all over the place.
While mainstream archaeology and Egyptology claim to have all the answers, one problem that continues to vex antique ET theorists and conformist illogical lame sheeple alike is just how old the pyramids are.
Now, the mainstream academia will tell you that the pyramids are 3,500 years old and that they were built in a span of 85 years. But the evidence that supports this claim is all happenstance and speculation. I've spent a lot of time looking at all the sources, and I can tell you that any dating of the pyramids is based on faulty and unreliable historical records, at best.
No. Charcoal and reeds found in the mortar used to make the pyramids have been carbon dated a couple of different times, and the results put them well within the time periods historians have claimed the pyramids were built.
Well, many great and fundamental questions remain about the...
No, they really don't, all things considered.
There remains one final piece of evidence that has continued to stump and perplex even the most mainstream of men. Just how were the pyramids built?
Yes, there isn't an exact consensus on the way the pyramids were built. Though there are many widely accepted theories, including one by a French architect that is pretty well supported by the pyramids themselves. Who am I kidding?
In my newest book, I point out that if we can't say exactly how these massive structures were built, who is to say we know anything about them at all? And if we don't know anything about them, who's to say that aliens couldn't have been involved?
Were the pyramids built by or with the help of aliens? Who can really say? All we can say is, until there's some scientific, impervious, completely and utterly correct, without a shadow of a doubt proof as to how humans actually did build these pyramids, we simply can't rule out extraterrestrial intervention or design.
The fact remains that mainstream archaeologists and experts can't account for the building of these massive structures in really any respect, which therefore means we must look for alternative explanations, like, say, an army of Bigfoots.
Bigfoots. Right.
Again, I pretty much have it kind of memorized, so if it's not.
Really long run on sentence.
Yeah, the Jordan sentence. The Jordan sentence. Ladies and gentlemen, the Jordan sentence. Okay.
Okay, so on a scale of like Jim Carrey to what's that guy's name who's in all the movies?
Wait, what? No, the spot at Giza had been a cemetery or for Egyptian royalty for hundreds of years before. Yes, it was.
Oh, have I been saying academia the whole entire time? Well, maybe that's why I got kicked out of academia.
That's beautiful. Let's do one more.
I know it's beautiful.
You're like, please.
This is all getting recorded, right? Good.
Yeah.
When this is all over, I just want pancakes.
Do you still want me louder?
Yes.
Okay.
Jess, you literally can't be too loud.
Oh, here's something we could do. Try to talk over this.